Hey everybody, we are live again. Thank you for tuning in to Making Money Moves. Obviously, I am your host, Aaliyah, of course. Who else would it be? I know I look different every week, but it's okay. You're just gonna adjust with me. Okay, so last week we had Dominique Broadway on here. Shout out to Dominique. Thank you for coming. And we talked about financial planning. We talked about the importance of financial planning, and the people that need to do the most financial planning are the people that don't have any money, actually, are the people that, if you are less than six figures, if you are less than five figures, you need to do financial planning first. It's not just, the myth for financial planning is that it is for people that have a lot of money. For millionaires, they're already there, which is not true. The people that need it the most are the people that literally, like, you have every day, I work 9 to 5, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, or I'm just about living paycheck to paycheck. Those are the people that need to plan the most, just because you don't want to come into a lot of money and have the same bad spending habits that you had when you didn't have any money. So you don't want to go from making $45,000 and having bad spending habits and living check to check to making $150,000 to still having those same bad habits. So if you do need financial planning, Dominique is here for you to be able to help. I am also here to be able to help. You can contact either one of us and we will be able to get with you and kind of guide you and let you know, what you need to do. We also talked about credits. We also talked about the importance of credit, how credit is worth more than money, which it is. Thank Lord my credit score is now over 800. I just checked this morning before I came in because this house that I want, it's been calling my name. But the importance of credit is a really big thing, because you literally, when they look at your credit, is basically looking at your history. So kind of like if you were going for a job interview, they ask you for your resume. They look to see what jobs you have had, how long you've been at these jobs. If you change jobs so often, why you've done that, you kind of have to explain. Your credit score basically does the same thing, except for it shows how you can or cannot handle money. And how you can or cannot have these other obligations. So when it comes to being able to buy a house, buy a car, or any of that, when they look at your credit, it shows them, are you a risk? Are you something that we are willing to loan or willing to risk this on you? Or is it something that, like, you're a good risk? Like, oh yeah, then we'll do this, or you are not. So your credit is worth more than money. So Absolutely. For those that need help with credit repair, we also, obviously, Calvert Tax Service is here to help you with that as well, if you do need that. If you just need to, and it's a couple other companies, but to check it, you can check through, if you have Capital One, even if you don't have Capital One credit wise, you still can check with that. You do not lower your score when you check your credit personally. It is your personal credit score. That myth also needs to go away. You do not do that, but Credit Karma is a good one. Credit Sesame is a good one, and Credit Wise does help. Okay, so that is from last week. Okay, so we are here again now. So this week we are talking fashion and finance. Okay, fashion and finance. Our next guest, my next money maker, is Candace Easley. She used to work for GE. Actually, we all see GE stamps on everything from refrigerators to microwaves to ovens to the electronics, in your house, to stuff when you walk through the store. But now she owns TCB, which is a boutique. So we are going to get into how she went from working from GE to now owning a clothing store and her experience behind it. I do know Candace personally. So one thing we will also get into is Candace also had oral cancer. Okay. So she is a survivor of cancer. Yes. So we will get into that as well, because her story is definitely unique when it comes to how she found out, why it took her so long to go to the doctor, and such things like that. So let's get into Candace. Welcome, Candace. Thank you for coming.
Thank you guys for having me. Hey.
Okay, so let's talk about TCB, because that is your baby.
That's my baby.
So let's talk about how we went from. Well, tell us about TCB first, and then we'll kind of go back.
Okay, so Tresor Cache Boutique, otherwise known as TCB.
Yes.
Tresor Cache actually stands for Hidden Treasures in French.
Oh.
So that's where the name came about. I wanted to have a boutique that was unique, had unique pieces for the everyday woman, to feel fashionable, to be classic, to be chic, in what she wears. My tier 1 customer is from 35 to 45. So having that sweet spot of where I want to be grown, I want to be sexy, but not too sexy. It's kind of our niche market. So that's what we do at Tres Cachet. Not only do we have a full service boutique, we also do personal shopping, styling, closet purchase, and organization as well. So you get a little bit of everything when you come to TCB to
Look
see
at
us.
These. I have a couple of these pieces as well that we are showing on this website. But so let's get into some numbers. You know, I always like to give you the numbers behind the industries that we are talking about. The fashion industry is a $520 million industry. Okay, 520 million. They are projected to do annually. They grow at about 11%. So by the time 2020 gets here, I think they're projected to do 720 some numbers, $1 million for the year. So when you think of fashion and you think of what this industry is bringing and how much we spend, I kind of would have thought it would have been more than that. But if you look at everything that you do when it comes to fashion, like everything fashion has behind it, from how you select your clothes to even if you just feel like you just throw something on in the morning, like everything kind of is your statement piece. You are your best, you are your best marketer. So it's definitely interesting that the fashion industry is doing, like it is, just because there's so many things that you can do with fashion and so many things that, you might not think that's fashionable to somebody else.
Right.
Okay.
Well, because too with fashion is you're making a statement before you even speak. So most of the time I tell people before someone even talks to you, before they even speak to you, they are noticing something, my hat, my watch, my top, whatever it is. So you're always making your own personal statement with whatever you choose to wear. It's speaking before you even open your mouth. It's people tell me all the time, oh my God, you wear stuff from your store all the time. Well, first of all, it's my store. It's my brand. I live, breathe, eat Tres Cachet. I wear something from the boutique literally every single day.
That makes sense.
From a shirt to sunglasses to whatever it is, but I am constantly eating, breathing my brand every single day.
And that's what you have to do when you I talk about branding yourself. Everything has to be about you. Everything has to be about what your company or whatever you are trying to brand, like everything, it literally has to be about you. So she is her best representative. She is her best marketer. If she was a hairdresser, her hair's done. If it wasn't, I wouldn't go to you. If it kind of makes sense. Like I am my best advertisement. Okay. So she worked at GE as logistics finance. And then obviously now she owns a business. So finance kind of works. So tell us about GE. How did you go from GE to owning a store?
Well, back in 2014, I started Tres Cachet. We started online only. I started small and worked my way up. We started with accessories only. So I started where I was just doing just accessories, women's accessories. And then from women's accessories, it kind of grew to clothing and all of the different other mixes that we have that we offer today. Okay. But when I started out, I was doing the boutique part-time and I was working in GE full-time. And if anybody has ever worked for GE, the meatball, the blue Kool-Aid that we eat, breathe, and drink is very, very demanding, especially in the position that I was in. I did logistics finance. I managed a $80 million budget for finance. I worked heavily with the turbine engines. Anybody knows when you're on a plane and you have the turbines that are going there under the wing, that's what we were responsible for moving, that type of material. And so I was doing finance and then I was doing the boutique part-time. And then I noticed every night I was going home and I was like, I'm so tired. Because I'm doing, it's not when you work for GE, it's no 9 to 5. It's 12-hour, 10-hour days sometimes, And so I was working full-time and I was doing it part-time. And I was like, one day in my mind, I had this vision that one day these roles are either going to flop or one day this one's going to just go away. But I had no idea it would happen as soon as it did. So I would, work full-time, boutique part-time, work full-time. And then I just kept saying, God, I really want to do what I'm passionate about. I really want to follow my passion in fashion. Seeing women feel good about themselves, transforming them from they come in, I'm going to this event and I don't really dress up, and then they come out the dressing room and they have this outfit on, they're like, oh my God. You're like, yes, you're beautiful,
Right.
you're gorgeous, and you can do this. So I was working, and then I got diagnosed with oral cancer.
Yes.
And that was the pivotal moment in my life where I decided that I would no longer just be at work. Not that I love GE. I was good at what I did. They wouldn't have let me be there as long
Right.
as I was. But it wasn't what I was passionate about. And it's just the words can't even describe like how amazing the feeling is when you get to wake up and do what you're passionate about. Because when you love what you do, you never feel like you're working. I can go into the boutique and I can be there for 10 to 12 hours at a time, and it feels like I've only been there an hour because I'm so engrossed into what I'm doing that it doesn't even feel like work. So I was diagnosed with oral cancer. I went to the dentist. Shameless plug right now. I need everybody to make sure that you have your oral cancer screening every year. It literally takes seconds. You can go to the dentist. It barely costs you $20. You need to be screened for oral cancer every year to ensure that you are safe and you're healthy. Not just oral cancer, but your yearly checkups to understand your body, to take the time to slow down. Because that's what happens.
That's what it does. So if you don't, well, for those you all don't know, Candace, or this circle of people that we have, everybody has a million things going on all the time. So from you owning business to you having kids to I work full time. I got 3 side businesses. I do this, this, and that. So we don't tend to go to the doctor unless something really hurts, that we're really in pain, or that you are really like, oh, I feel like I'm dying. Is when you finally go to the doctor, and sometimes that's when it's too late.
Right.
So Candace, obviously, was working all these jobs. She's also married and has a child. So she was doing all these things, and she kept putting it off.
Right.
Which another guest that was here also said the same thing. They kept putting it off, kept putting it off, putting it off, and then finally she went.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're pushed into your passion, into your business. Sometimes you go willingly, and sometimes you're pushed.
Right.
So at this point, for Candace, was actually kind of pushed because you had to go. You had to slow down. You had to get checked, and then when you finally did, you were able to see, okay, this is this cancer that I have. So let's talk about oral cancer, because for some of you all that don't know what it is, I know people hear about breast cancer all the time. You hear about some of these other ones. So tell us actually what oral cancer is.
I will tell you. So oral cancer actually comes in various strands. The strand that I had is adenoid cystic carcinoma, and that is a strand that's found in your salivary gland. So as a result, for even after my treatment and all that, I still don't produce the same amount of saliva that a normal person would produce. The chemo and the radiation has worn down the activity in my jaw. So like to eat a cheeseburger or to eat anything that's very big, I don't have range of motion to be able to do that. But it can be found in your jaw. It can be found in your hard palate. It can be found back by your tonsils. It's usually found like in a little bump. Sometimes it's a bump, sometimes it's an abrasion. So sometimes it could be tricky because you're like, oh, did I bite myself, or did I do this, or did I do that? And so if you see something that looks abnormal in your mouth and it doesn't go away within a week, you need to have it checked. Because we do, you bite your tongue, you bite your lip, you have, little bumps and, abrasions in your mouth, but those things should go away within a week. So if it doesn't go away within a week, then you need to have it checked. And that's what happened to me. So I had a small bump, barely in the size of an eraser on a number 2 pencil. And it was on the roof of my mouth. So if you push your tongue and you take it to the top of your mouth, that's called your hard palate, and that's the most typically people say the roof of your mouth. So it was on my hard palate. It was a little tiny bump, but it didn't. At first I thought I burned it didn't hurt, and then I said, did I burn myself? Did I eat something? Is it a breakout? And then it never went away.
Mm-hmm.
And it never hurt. It never had any it never had anything. So I'm just doing my thing. Like you say, going through the motions, working, having the boutique, doing things at the church. I'm in a nonprofit, doing things with Icon, and I just don't take the time to slow down. And it wasn't until I went in to have my wisdom teeth pulled, because they were impacted and they started bothering me. When I went in to have them pulled is when they biopsied this little bump that's on the top of my mouth, and they're like, yeah, you have cancer. And I'm like, what? How? When? Where? I don't understand. How do you get this? Mm-hmm. And the even more interesting part of this is when they found out, they told me I was at stage 2B, almost stage 3. And it had rapidly grown within like months. And they told me that, had you not come in here, because the strand is so aggressive, that I could have woke up and it could have been it.
Yeah.
And so, when someone tells you that, it just sends chills
down,
down your spine. You're like, wait a minute, what? Like, they're like, basically, you saved by the bell. Like a few more weeks, we would have been telling you stage 4, nothing we could do with you. So it's like, when you hear that, it's life-changing. And then when you go through, my first surgery was supposed to be 4 hours. It was 10 and a half. And so everybody, of course, is on pins and needles. But in all, I had 4 surgeries. I had 2.5 months of chemo radiation. I now have a prosthesis. I have no hard palate. I have no soft palate. I have no tonsils. I'm missing a piece of my teeth out. You only can understand me right now because I have a prosthesis.
Yeah.
But God is so amazing. And the advances of medicine are so amazing that now you can actually talk to me. But if I take this prosthesis out, you can't understand anything I'm saying. But I'm thankful for even that, Yep. So I just tell people to take the time, push the pause button and stop, because I was extremely tired. When this tumor was growing, and the cancer, because cancers usually are cancerous tumors, and when it was growing within my body, I was so tired. And they asked me when I was diagnosed, you weren't tired? Like, it's amazing you were able to move around, because the amount of energy that it normally drains. And I said, you know what? I was tired. But I'm just thinking I'm tired because I'm moving and shaking. I'm doing all these things. Yeah. So that's why I tell people, take the time to stop, push the reset button, understand your body, listen to it when it tells you to slow down. And when something kind of doesn't feel right, not right, but if it just kind of doesn't feel right, go get it checked.
Go get it.
You never know what it could be. But that was
kind of makes me want to go.
Yes.
To the doctor right now.
You better go.
Good thing I
okay. Good.
But anyway.
Yes. But that was the pivot that made me say, okay, because in your mind, it's a combination of things when you want to make that leap and that transition from corporate to being self-employed, because the corporate, I applaud everybody who works for corporate. I worked for corporate for many years. But there's a safety in knowing that every 2 weeks you get this check in your account.
Let me tell you
especially
something.
When you're making good money.
Let me tell you something. I taught, okay? I was teaching. I've owned my tax office now for 7 years.
Yes.
I have always had a job until the last 3 years. 3 years? Maybe 4 years now. I have always kept a job. I've always been teaching. I've always been doing something that I kept a W-2. And I used to tell people that I kept my W-2 because I needed to offset my taxes with the taxes that's coming out with my with my self-employment, which is partly true. But outside of the insurance. Lord, that makes me want to go back right now, okay? Because of this insurance. But part of that was because I was getting a paycheck. Like the comfort.
Yes.
And it's you really have to be able to step outside of your comfort zone. You have to be able to understand that, this is going to be uncomfortable. But what it does is makes you step up to the plate, because if you don't work, you don't eat.
Right.
So it's not like you going to a corporate job or and I used to teach. So going to work, regardless if I show up or not, I have a check every 2 weeks because I'm on salary.
Right.
But it's not like that when you are self-employed. You have to get out and grind. You have to get out and figure it out. And if you don't do that, you have to figure out how to make money move. Literally.
And
if you do not do that, you will not eat, and these bills will not get paid, and you will have some problems. Okay?
Exactly.
So
because that was
that
really
that
was a very big piece. I am fortunate that I am married, and my husband, I'm able to have have insurance with him. So that was another piece of the puzzle that was like, because I used to carry all of us on my insurance. Now it's flip flop. Now everything is on Terrence's insurance, but the safety of knowing that every 2 weeks I get a paycheck, every 2 weeks, my insurance, my benefits, my 401, even my retirement, my 401k, I'm having this match. I don't have a match anymore. I am the match.
You are the match.
So I have to ensure that I'm making taking the necessary steps, making the correct moves in order to make sure that I am continually setting myself up for that. One day I'm not going to work.
Yeah.
So that's another piece, but being able to take that leap and then jump to say, okay, God, it's me and you and this hustle all together. I have to work. I have to put in the work, and I have to activate the faith. But for me, it was when I went back to work after you've been sick, you've been through the treatment. I went from 148 pounds to 89 pounds. I didn't even recognize myself in the mirror. And I remember one day just looking in the mirror, and it's like when I had to get up to get ready to go back to work. And I was like, I'm not going to just keep working. Like, there has to be some existence in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was just good at what I did. I had a good job. I had great benefits. I had a great group of people at GE that I was working with, even not just in my office, but even my extended work family. And I was like, I have got to remove this crutch. And I woke up one day and I was like, I can't keep doing this every day. And it just happened to work out to where my plant that I was at was being shut down. And I was like, ooh, maybe I'm in the number. Just let me off. And then I had some of my business sponsors that were reaching out to me, and they were like, hey, the plant is shutting down. Like, what are you going to do? Like, we have this role over here, and I could put you in this space over here. And I was like, but I just want to go. Like, that's just what I want to do. I was very appreciative.
Just give me this severance package so I could leave.
Right.
Okay?
And then I took this package. I left. And then it was December 31st. I left. And then that January, I'll never forget. That January, sales at the boutique were so low. And I looked and I was like, what have you done?
Man.
I was like, oh my God, what have you done? You left all this money on the table. You came here. And it's so funny that next week I was in the boutique. I was working. I had a lady who came into the boutique, and I was ramping up for February, looking at what worked in January, what didn't, because in business, you have to understand, people feel like when you work for yourself that you can just be all willy-nilly. There's a lot of the same financial analytics that I use at GE and Baker and HP and all of these other places that I worked at that I still live and breathe by today in my own business. What was the cost of goods? What was my profit number? What did we spend on this? What did we take in on that? What was the highest seller? Why did we not sell this? Why do we not sell that? Even in business, you still have to discipline yourself. Even when you work for yourself, what is working, what is not, and to take a deep dive into those financial numbers, because sometimes people think when you work for yourself that it all just muddles together in a wash. But if you don't treat your business and yourself as a true business, you will be out of business really quick.
Let's get into that just a little bit, because I know we are about to run out of time.
It happens so fast.
You know, when you have, part of, which I'm glad you just said that, because that also is part of a financial plan, which is also my tip for today when it comes to financial planning. When you have a business, you have to have a plan. One thing I did not have when I initially started my business, either of the four, I feel like, is a plan. I kind of just jumped into it, dived into it.
Right.
And then kind of as you grow, not that I didn't necessarily know that because my background is finance, but it's just not something that you had when you're trying to get in.
Right.
So what I had to learn and what I had to do was basically put a plan together. And then now that I'm working with another company to put some other things in place, so these companies can work outside of me, because I'm tired of being a high paid administrator. Is what I feel is what I am. Okay, I need to be able to just be the CEO and do what I need to do. So, that is very important, to have this plan together and to be able to hold yourself accountable. It's harder to hold yourself accountable versus somebody else holding you accountable.
Right.
It's one thing that I've been having to learn, that I'm still learning over time now, is that even though you have so many other things going on,
Right.
you still have to be able to have a plan together. You still have to be able to put deadlines, meet deadlines, and hold yourself accountable for a lot of stuff, which we do get lax about. I've even gotten lax about that when it comes to a lot of stuff that I'm doing right now, especially with my CPA. So another story, but I am back on track now with that. But it does. She's telling you that a lot of stuff, and she worked in logistics and finance for this major corporation. So now the things that she's taking from there, the things that you can take from wherever you worked at, you put in place when you have this business to be able to make money move how it needs to be able to move. So she went from a high-paying job that with benefits and all of that to the lowest sales that she had in January, which is a blow. When I literally my first year probably, it was like that as well. Yeah. Like I did enough to pay some bills, but I still was like, geez.
Yes. And it wasn't until it was so funny because I was like, what have I done? And when January was so low and then it turned around February was double than what I made at GE in a month. And I was like, whoa, you can do this? This is what you know how to do. But you also have to understand that in business, there's highs and there's lows. So you might have 1 month to where you might knock it out the ballpark and you might have this astronomical amount of sales. But you have to take that month and prepare
for the rest of
the year, what may be coming behind it on those other months. And then when you start working for yourself and understanding how your trends work, that for me, I know January for me is typically a slow month. However, July, August, November, December are very high months. So you have to understand and sit down. That goes back to sitting down and understanding your business as a business, not just I work for myself and it's cool and I think it's good to do, but to sit down and understand, what am I spending out? What are we bringing in? What are we selling? January is high, February. So you definitely have to sit down
and definitely have to
have it every month. Every month you have to look at what your numbers are doing.
You do. You definitely do. I'm actually doing that now, even with taxes. At some point you hit a plateau. Like you've been growing so much every month or every year or whatever it is, you've been growing so much, and then all of a sudden you kind of hit a plateau. It's kind of like when you're losing weight. When you're working out and for those when you're working out and you're losing weight, even now I've been working out every day, and you kind of plateau at a number. And then it's like you're not losing, you're not gaining, but you're not losing. You're not, you're kind of really stuck. So then you have to kind of go in and readjust and figure out what it is that you need to do and what it is that you don't need to do. So you kind of have to adjust your plan. That also is the same thing when it comes to business, obviously. So Candace, okay, so give us a financial tip, or give us a give us a clothing tip. Give us both. Give them a financial tip for business.
Okay. So a financial tip for business, I would say, number one. Oh man, I gotta do one.
We gotta do one. We run out of time.
Okay. One financial tip I would give is to set your goals and to go back in every month to understand how you stacked up to those goals. Okay. And do not overspend. I'm sorry, that kind of turned into tip.
That's fine. Do not over. Okay, so give us a fashion tip. Give us a fashion tip.
A fashion tip I will give, a female fashion tip, is to understand your body and dress according to that shape. Oftentimes, women believe that they could just wear anything. Take 5 seconds to understand what body type that you are and what is figure flattering to your body type, and it will make your shopping and your wardrobe lighter and faster. Because oftentimes we just tend to think, oh, that's cute, but that might be cute, but it's not cute for me. I'm a small woman and people think I can wear everything, and I can't. I have long limbs and I have a short torso. So people have to understand your body type, figure out what your sweet spot is in the garments that flatter your body, and stick to those.
All right. And then that's great. Knowing your body type.
Knowing your body type is half the battle.
Yes. Oh, that sounds great. And
Yeah.
then my tip today is about financial planning. Is really about, she obviously talked about setting a goal and figuring out what you need to do to get to the next level, but you need to figure out what you need to do to get day to day.
Right.
A financial plan will help you in your personal life. It will also help you in your business. It will save a lot of headache. It will save a lot of problems if you have these plans together. If you need a financial plan, you can always call me.
Yes.
Send me a message if you need some fashion advice. If you need some clothing to wear, even if you are not on, I'm running out of time, let me hurry up. Even if you are in state, out of state, you can order from Candace.
Yes.
You can order online. You can go on Instagram. You can go to her website. If you have any questions, you also can DM her and send her a message. She is added on here. So if you have any questions, and then if you guys have, thank you for tuning in every week. I know that you guys, love to hear this lovely voice every week. And I give you guys some tips. Subscribe to my YouTube page, Making Money Move Podcast, iTunes, Making Money Moves, Google, I'm still trying to get you together, but it's coming. And subscribe to my Facebook page and my Instagram page. They both are Making Money Moves. And I will not see you guys next Tuesday. I will be out of town working at camp for kids that have HIV called Camp Hope. If you all want to donate to that'd be great. Otherwise, I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Candace, thank you for coming out.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you.
We are out.
Bye.